Hello, Bashar.
And a you good day.
Oh, I'm first. So, this is what flow feels like, following my excitement, and I'm here.
Yes, this is what flow feels like, because every single one of you has a current in creation, and your current knows where you need to go. So just go with that flow, and you'll wind up exactly where you need to be, exactly when you need to be there, with exactly who you need to be with. Perfect principle of synchronicity organizing your life.
Yes, I've never experienced this before. This is fantastic.
Yes.
To the best of my ability, with no hesitation. Okay, so my question is there a way that we can really remember ourselves, our real selves?
Yes. That's why we give you the formula. That's what happens. It all boils down to a few simple instructions. Because when you follow the instructions of acting on your passion to the best you can, with no assumption, no insistence on the outcome, and you remain in a positive state no matter what's happening, what happens? You raise your frequency. When you raise your frequency, what happens? You become a more sensitive antenna to higher frequency communication and information and intelligence. When you become a better receiver of that information, what happens? You expand your consciousness. When you expand your consciousness, what happens? You know yourself more deeply, more fully, more truly. It all works together. That's why we give you the instruction manual. Almost every single question most of you ask us is contained in that instruction manual. By doing it, you will be more of yourself. And when you are more of yourself, you will know more of yourself. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Why do we keep forgetting our power so quickly, so easily?
Because you have been trained to. Because you have been trained to buy into fear-based beliefs that say you are not worthy, you are not deserving, you are not powerful, you are not confident, you are not trusting, you are not connected, you are out of control. Yes? These are the things that you are taught on your planet. When you grow up in your society, from your parents, your friends, your schooling. But when you become an adult, you begin to realize, hey, I was spoon-fed something that I can't digest anymore. That's not me. I needed to believe it was me for a while because other people made me believe that if I didn't believe that, they wouldn't take care of me. They wouldn't like me. I wouldn't survive. But now, you're an adult. You can handle survival on your own. You can thrive. You need to find out who you really are. You need to let go of the things that are no longer you, that supported you up to a point, but which you no longer need. You're carrying around, most of you, other people's belief systems that have nothing to do with you, other people's baggage, so to speak. Your baggage weighs nothing. If you feel held back, it means you're carrying around someone else's baggage. Drop it. Find out what those beliefs are that are out of alignment with who you truly are, who you prefer to be. And when you bring those fear-based, negative-oriented beliefs to the light of your consciousness from your unconscious mind, and really see what they say, the first thing you will notice is, more often than not, they will appear illogical, nonsensical, when you really examine what they say. You will see right through them as a lie. And therefore, as soon as a belief appears to you to be nonsensical, it's gone. That's the end of the process of letting it go, not the beginning. Because you don't hold on to anything that appears nonsensical. If you do hold on to the belief, that means there is another belief that is making that belief appear to make sense. You have to find out what that belief is and keep digging and digging and digging until you come down to the fundamental, foundational belief that is holding all the other ones together. And as soon as you crack that fundamental negative belief, all the other ones will collapse. But sometimes a negative belief, a fundamental one, because it is attempting to perpetuate itself, like all beliefs are made to do, may hide under other beliefs. Allow you to think, oh, look, I discovered that negative belief. It's gone. Now everything will be different. But you see that it's not. You keep acting the same way, keep behaving the same way, keep feeling the same way, keep thinking the same way, keep having the same kind of negative experiences. That simply means you haven't found the fundamental negative belief. Keep digging. Once you find that and see that it makes no sense and truly let that one go, then everything changes, everything shifts.
Agreed.
You will find out, generally speaking, even though there may be very many specific ways in which this can be expressed in your life, you will usually find out that the fundamental negative belief is some variation of I'm not worthy. And yet, you exist. How could it be that you exist if you're not worthy of existence? Do you believe creation makes a mistake? It doesn't. Nothing is pointless within existence. It exists for a reason. So if you exist, just to put it in colloquial language, existence must need you to exist in order for it to be complete unto itself. Because if it really didn't need you, you wouldn't exist. Therefore, you are worthy by the fact that you exist, and you don't need another reason to be worthy. If you start to believe that you are unworthy, and keep believing that you are unworthy, you are arguing with creation about your worth. You will never, ever win that argument. Ever. Because you cannot cease to exist. You may change form, but you, the you that is you, the reflection of all that is your perspective, your unique consciousness, cannot cease to exist. Why? Because by definition, there's nowhere for you to go. Non-existence, by definition, doesn't exist. Think about it. That's the quality of non-existence, to not exist. It doesn't exist. That's its quality. So if you exist, you can't become non-existent because non-existence doesn't exist. There's nowhere for you to go. So you are worthy because you exist. Is this making some sense to you?
I'm feeling all of these things. I feel these almost like I'm a hive, and the hive is splitting in some way. And so I'm just going the right direction. And
if you're being you,
I'm
yes.
Definitely being me for the first time in my life. Just me, not carrying other people's baggage, but still on the same journey.
Well, yes, on the journey of being you. You see, that's actually your purpose in life, all of you. To be you, as fully as you can be. You may express that purpose in a number of ways. But those are the expressions of your purpose. Your purpose is to be you. That's it. Simple. Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. Just be you. Even though most of you have been taught to do this, the hardest thing to do is to be someone you're not. The easiest thing is to be you. All the pain, all the struggle, all the strife, all the difficulty comes from trying to be someone you're not. All of it. When you start to go with your flow, as we talked about, that's your current, it becomes effortless. It becomes automatic. It becomes joyful. It becomes creative. It becomes loving. It becomes fulfilling. Because all those things are automatically contained in the automatic guidance system that goes with being yourself, that's built in. Surrender is not giving up control. Surrender is surrendering to the control that's already built into you. Go with the flow. That's all you have to do. Of course, if you're really excited about overcomplicating it, I'm not going to stop you. Because if that's your joy, then that's your joy. If that's your path, then that's your path. But you get to decide. The greatest freedom all of you have is the ability to choose. So choose. Is this helping?
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
Thank you for being my friend. Nice to meet you.
And you as well.
Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
My question is about Europe, because I think there are also some fans from Europe. And I didn't find many information on vortices and energy points in Europe. Can you maybe tell some hotspots?
Well, I think you already know of some, certainly. Such places as the stone circles. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, there are many stone circles throughout Europe that are marking different places of high energy vortices. There are certain places that are famous for a reason, because people are attracted to the vortices and then build major cities there, such as Paris. The Eiffel Tower is literally at the center of a vortex. That's why these things get put where they get put. Because whether it's conscious or unconscious or instinctual, you gravitate to where that energy is and create representations that demark them. So quite often you will find that the most, shall we say, observable or sacred, or sometimes the most mysterious edifices are usually placed somewhere within a vortex. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Does that help?
Yes. Some
But-
travel points.
Well, obviously sometimes there are also mountains that will serve as indications of strong energy upwellings and vortices on your planet. What you call Vesuvius is one, very strong vortex. The island of Crete is another major vortex in the Mediterranean, especially the Temple of Knossos. You follow?
Yes.
All right. One moment. The region occupied by what you call the Basque people is a very particular kind of vortex that connects to certain ancient lineages going back to Atlantean times very powerfully. Many times where in England the crop circles form, other major vortices are there. The Isle of Man is an extremely powerful vortex that has to do with the opening of mysteries. And there are many others. But you can find the rest by using your senses and being attracted to places, and that will tell you that there's some energy there for you. Anything else?
Yes, thank you. Is there any particular very strong point, because there's like all over the place in Sedona, a nice vortex to visit for cosmic energies?
Bell Rock is the center of the vortex that covers all of Sedona.
Okay.
That's why my ship is above it.
Oh. Good to know.
Does that help?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Are there any other beings beside my higher self that want to make a message now?
You are being given the messages that you need to be given through this conversation.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I would like to thank you for last night's dream and the downloads over the last few days.
Yes.
And my question pertains to an energetic system that I've been getting downloaded with over the last year and a half, which I'm coming to understand as being Maitreya consciousness.
All right. You are working with that particular archetypal consciousness then?
Yes.
All right.
And
so that's your permission slip at this moment?
It is.
All right.
And my question pertains to what elements I might be missing in regards to this energetic system. In my current understanding, it deals with aligning the pineal, the heart, and the base, and the crystals within the blood, and our glands with those within the earth, which then align with the sun, all the other suns, and the great central sun.
All right. Does that system work for you?
It seems to. However, I'm curious if there are any elements of this system that I am missing, or if there's anything that you can inform me of that would help me to deepen in my understanding of it.
All right. I can ask you a question that may help.
Certainly.
Are there any of the elements you have mentioned that you feel you can do without? Can you simplify the system for yourself?
Well, one of the elements here is it's not just for myself. It's for humanity. And so I'm trying to deepen in my understanding of it so it becomes translatable to others.
Yes, but that's not an answer to the question we asked you.
Okay.
Is there any element that you mentioned that you feel you can do without in that system? That by dropping one of the elements you mentioned, does the system feel a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more powerful to you? Is there such an element?
Potentially the crystals in the blood.
Is that a question or a statement?
Well, I'm not clear the answer that I have.
Why did you pick those?
Because I'm not as connected with the crystals in the blood as I am with the energies in my base, heart, and pineal.
Then you have answered the question. Drop the elements that don't completely make sense or work for you. The elements you're working with in a permission slip must be crystal clear. No pun intended. All right, a little bit of a pun intended.
Nice.
But the point is, from our perspective, it would actually be more beneficial for you to streamline the permission slip rather than say, is there something missing? There actually needs to be something missing. So that it will work more efficiently for you rather than being overloaded with elements that don't quite make sense and work for you. So take some time to examine it. It's all right if that's your permission slip, but take some time to examine it and see if there's anything you can kind of let go of or merge together into something that makes more sense as a single element rather than two or three, and see if that feels more powerful to you.
Okay.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
That's our suggestion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I like that.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah. So I've been surrendering to some feelings, some knowings in my soul, in my heart.
All right.
And one of these elements pertains to a possible death of some layers of consciousness. And,
Death of layers of consciousness?
Mm-hmm. Ego, if you will.
Well, you can't get rid of the ego until you're dead.
Okay.
Literally, physically dead. You can allow yourself to experience the ego in a neutral way, the way it was designed to work. It doesn't have to be the negative ego. That you can certainly let go of. But you can't let go of the ego structure or you'll have no personality. You will just be a shell.
So is that how you define the ego as personality?
In a sense, it's the physical persona that you are pretending to be in order to have a physical experience. We often use the analogy of a diving mask. If you're going diving in the ocean, things will look a little murky to you unless you put on a diving mask to make things clear. The ego structure, the personality structure, is the diving mask that you put on to go diving into the idea of experiencing physical reality. The ego's job, the physical personality's job, is just to make what you're experiencing clearer. That's it. It doesn't have the power to decide where you should go, how things should work out, or any of that. In the same way that a diving mask doesn't tell you, go there and look at that fish now. Now go over there and look at that piece of coral. Oh, look at that. There's a shark coming your way. Isn't that wonderful? I think you should swim this way. The diving mask does none of that. You decide where to go. You decide what to look at. The diving mask just makes it clearer. That's all its job is, to allow you to experience what's happening right now. The higher mind knows what needs to happen, and the higher mind will guide you. But the ego is just there to allow you to have what you call the physical dream. Make sense?
It does. So then how did Jesus see all of this then?
Say that again.
So how did Jesus see all of this then?
How did Jesus?
He surrendered to the depth of his soul within his heart.
No, not really.
What
That's a
was
misinterpretation.
What's your interpretation then?
He surrendered to being his greater self. That's very different. That's actually becoming more of your soul. Yes?
Okay.
That's expressing more of your heart. Does that make sense? You understand that physical reality is literally just a dream that your spirit is having? Literally. You have never left spirit. None of you have. That's your natural state. You're there right now. You are in spirit right now. You are dreaming that you're not. That's what physical reality is. So the entity that you call Jesus simply understood that and therefore expanded the consciousness beyond the physical parameters to a certain point, to allow a fuller expression of his total being and the being of all that is to come through, as all of you can do. That's actually what he was teaching. Not about the idea of creating Christianity per se, but that you are all Christ's. And therefore, what he exhibited, you can exhibit. In fact, that's actually still in your Bible as a quote from him. Greater things than I have done will you do. How could that be if you are not also capable of becoming a Christ? Yes? Does that make sense?
It does.
All right. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, for the most part. For the most part.
What part didn't it answer?
There's something inside of me, deep in there, that I'm starting to get in touch with, that the more I view the world through it and connect with it and start to express it,
Yes.
it's creating more questions and a lot more deep answers.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's your greater self.
Yeah.
That's you connecting to your greater self and allowing more of it through. Yes. Of course. That's how it works. The more you become, the more can come through you. Yes?
Yes.
Does that help?
It does.
Did that leave any part out?
No.
Are you sure?
No.
All right. That's fine.
Yeah.
Please continue your journey and
Yeah.
have fun.
Yes, that's my sense right now.
All
Exactly.
right. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you.
Couple of weeks ago, or sorry, about a couple of months ago, my son asked me to tell him a story, and he had a new book from the library, and I went in to read him this book, and it was Rumpelstiltskin.
Yes.
And when I heard the word Rumpelstiltskin, it brought me right back to my childhood. I hadn't heard that word in 30-something years, and
So you did not catch our transmission where we talked about the idea of what that fairy tale actually represents recently?
I did. Yeah,
right.
it was after the fact. So when so I started reading the book to him, and it brought me right back to my childhood when I was
All right.
when I was an infant, and I was going through the trauma of the death of my mother at the time.
All right.
And my son was asking me, he's like, what is this about? Like, why on earth would the miller sell his daughter, and why would she say that the newborn, her firstborn, Rumpelstiltskin could take him? And I was baffled as I was reading it, and I was thinking, I don't know. But I was also having my own experience of my memory of Rumpelstiltskin for the first time,
Yes.
listening to it on a tape in the dark on my own, and my son was having the same experience that I had as a kid.
Yes.
I couldn't give him any answers, and
You couldn't. One moment. You couldn't? Did you say you did or didn't hear our transmission?
oh yeah, sorry, I did afterwards. So
After you read the book.
so about a week later, Rumpelstiltskin came up again, and my son was asking me the same question. I said, I really don't know. And then I looked at my phone, and there was a message from the Bashar team saying that you're going to describe what Rumpelstiltskin is all about next week.
All right. Well, how synchronous of you.
So completely. So the next week, of course, I tuned in, and you described how Rumpelstiltskin represents the negative belief. So in that moment, I realized that, Jesus, like Rumpelstiltskin, like what is the negative belief that I could have bought into at the time? I did my own investigation, and it turned out that the belief that I bought into was that I can't do it on my own.
All right.
The belief that I uncovered, and it was just such a magical, synchronous way for it all to unfold. Bizarre.
Yes.
So,
but do remember that the idea of the story of Rumpelstiltskin actually transforms negativity into positivity.
exactly.
All right.
Yeah, like what I realized when I uncovered that belief was that I have been doing it on my own, and we're all doing it on our own. And even
Of course.
if I'm creating the experience of not being able to do it on my own, I'm doing that on my own. So
You are. And even if you attract the idea of help, you're doing that on your own too.
yeah, exactly. So
All right.
one thing I wanted to ask you about, Bashar, was breathing.
Yes.
It's something that has synchronistically been coming up on my radar a lot in recent years, and especially in recent months. And I've been reading a lot about the various modalities of breathing, and I've been experimenting on my own with holotropic breathing and
All right.
all the types.
Yes.
And I was just wondering, from your perspective, is there like a golden breath? Is there a kind of a ratio, a rate at which we should be breathing to optimize? I mean, on a everyday, regular basis.
Well, it will be slightly different for different people, but in general, if you're operating at a higher frequency, you will probably take deeper breaths in a sort of yogic fashion less often, but the breaths will be deeper and will oxygenate your system to be able to handle the higher frequency energies that you may be beginning to deal with. It is similar to what you experience from the channel's body when we are coming through, where you will hear it takes place in a slightly different part of the body than normal breathing. It shifts to the back of the throat and utilizes the resonant cavities of the sinuses and the lungs in a different way to make sure that while it may be an intake less often, it will be an intake that will allow for the appropriate amount of oxygenation to support the body in handling higher frequencies. So it's sort of a form of what you call yogic breathing, but it can become a very natural pace when your frequency rises. It may be a natural response to it.
Okay. And would it be true if that breath, if I was to, I guess, master or to inhabit that breath as a daily experience, is it like, can that rid your body of toxicity?
It can help. It can help. But again, it depends on the belief systems of the individual, what might be the path of least resistance for you. You may also find yourself being attracted to any other ideas that may help purge the toxins from your system, such as herbal formulations and such. But again, as long as you are in alignment as best as you can be with your true frequency, synchronicity will bring to your attention the opportunities that will work for you. It might be a combination of things.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Yeah. So I guess over the last couple of years, I've become quite fluent with the information that you've been conveying, and it's allowed myself and my family, through the communication of this information, to really step into a very magical orchestration of telepathic synchronicity and just hilarious unfoldings. And we experience this on a daily basis in an intertwined kind of fashion, just really,
Exactly. That's how it works.
Yeah. And it's really magical. And,
well, it's really just physics, but I understand what you mean.
And if I step out of it, which I do sometimes, I never step into really the negative, like I always have the tools there basically to jump back in. But there's one thing, Bashar, that I seem to be going in circles with, and
that would be what?
It's it's been with me for now 30 years, and it's issues with my skin. And despite my best efforts with detoxification, with different diets, with this information, with understanding that my skin has brought me on this journey, and I couldn't have learned what I had learned without this issue kind of driving me on this path. It seems to be getting worse and worse, despite my openness, despite my my new sense of being, my new sense of fluency.
All right. Well, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Why should it change?
Yeah.
Can you continue on your spiritual path even if it continues with you? This particular experience with your skin? Is it actually stopping you from doing anything that you really need to do?
No, I'm stopping. I've been here with this question before.
All right. Can you imagine continuing to expand even if that particular physical effect continues to be chosen by you? There's a series of questions here we're asking, so just answer each one in turn. Can you imagine continuing to expand your consciousness and the synchronicity and the joy in your life even if that condition continues?
No. No.
Why not? Where do you think it's going to go? What do you think it's going to do to stop you? Has it stopped you so far?
Yes.
How has it stopped you? You just described the idea that your life every day is a joyous intertwining experience of synchronicity and magic. So how has it stopped you so far?
It's mostly a synchronistic, magical orchestration, but it's because I'm become my relationship to food and to everything that I do becomes so has become so negative, because I don't know. I'm trying my best to be open to the best thing, but it just doesn't seem to.
What if this is the best thing for you, whether you know it or not?
Yeah, I guess.
What if it is?
Yeah.
Well, answer the question. What if it is? Will you be okay with it if you actually know that it is the best thing for you? Why must it change?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right.
When you let go of the need for it to change, it will probably change. But up to this point, you've been using it to drive yourself in the direction that you prefer. Do you still have a belief that you need it to drive you further? The paradox may be that you think it's holding you back, but in fact, you may be using it to drive you forward. And you may have a belief that says that you need it to drive you forward, because without it, I know you examine the idea of what would necessarily have been different had you not had it, but think about it more deeply. Would you have driven yourself had you not had it to the same degree?
That's interesting. It kind of ties in with that belief that I can't do it on my own. It feels like the same.
Yes. So this condition may have been helping you in some ways to drive you forward, to seek what you need, to push yourself, to find answers to things that you believe will make things better in your life. So this may be one thing you think you can't let go of because you may have a belief that without it, you won't continue to pursue the idea of being yourself as strongly as you have in the past by being driven to find a way to let go of it.
Yeah, of course.
You see the paradox?
Yeah.
So you need to sort of relax into the idea that it's okay to have it because you've been using it to your advantage. But by relaxing into the idea that you've been using it in that way, you can then allow yourself to gently shift into the understanding that you have the ability to make an agreement with yourself that you don't necessarily need it, because you don't have to be afraid that without it, you won't have the same push or drive to continue to expand and explore. If you know that you're willing to have the same drive, then it's possible that it may alleviate. But if you really are holding on to it because it's what's been serving you and pushing you in that direction, and you are afraid that letting it go will temper your drive and you won't expand as fast, then you're going to hold on to it as long as you possibly can.
Brilliant. That's perfect. Yeah, I get it. Lovely. Okay, thanks. Okay,
right.
the crystal skulls, you did a crystal skull transmission about a year ago.
Yes, we know.
You said the word Asha Kukumats. Is that right? Asha.
Yes, well, Kukumats. Kukumats is the name of one of the skulls. Asha is a phrase in our language, which means within.
Okay. And are there any of those in Ireland? Is Ireland a place that, one of those would?
It does have one of the 13 skulls, yes.
Wow.
I'm not about to tell you where.
Sure. Thank you, Bashar.
Thank you. It is again our passion and our pleasure. Good day.
Thank you. See you.
Oh, hello. So nice to connect with you this day, Bashar. I'm so excited to ask you my question. Since I'm a rap artist, I decided to make mine rhyme. I felt that would be more natural. So my one question to you is, with all the stuff in the world that we're dealing, and these black lives that these officers keep stealing, I have a feeling that we're way past the kneeling. How do we as a nation achieve a state of healing? Would love to get your thoughts on that. Thank you so much, Bashar. Shavai.
You have to validate yourselves. You have to validate the differences between you. You have to operate from compassion and support and love. You have to understand that you are powerful as you need to be to attract what you need without hurting yourselves or anyone else in life in order to attract it. You have to trust the way things unfold. You have to know your connections to the infinite and express them by following your passion and being yourself and fulfilling your purpose in life and allowing others to do so as well.
Hello.
And to you, good day.
How are you, Bashar?
Perfect, and you?
I'm just great, thanks.
All right. What would you like to discuss this day?
I want to talk about the idea of karma and timing.
Yes.
And in following your discussion and teachings, I understand there's a natural timing for things.
Yes.
Now, with the idea that everything exists here and now,
Yes.
what's the correlation? Like, for instance, I want to heal my eyesight, or I would prefer to have perfect vision without the need of glasses. I know that's possible. I also know it's probable.
Yes.
However, I feel like maybe in 3 to 6 months I would have that.
Maybe.
Is it possible to have it sooner, or
Maybe.
Okay.
It depends on its relevance, depends on why this is important to you, depends on reasons for making these kinds of choices, depends on the themes you're exploring in this life, depends on many different factors. So maybe.
So does that apply to every preference, that it's a maybe?
Yes, to different degrees of probability. Some things can be highly probable. Some probabilities can be much lower. Again, this is why it's important to understand the reasons why you are exploring what you're exploring or what it is you desire. Making sure that you are not countermanding something that you chose to explore for your own reasons that you may not be paying attention to. So the idea is not that these things can't occur, but you have to explore with honest self-investigation and transparency why what is happening to begin with, and the reasons you have for desiring the change. And what that would really mean.
Is that, when you talk about what it really means, is that more of an energetic frequency, meaning if I have a strong desire for something, that has a higher probability than something else?
No, not necessarily. What we're talking about is the frequency of the belief that you have about why it's there to begin with, how it serves you having had it, what you have learned otherwise that you may not have learned having not had it, and coming to terms with how it has served you so you can really have clarity about whether it's still serving you or whether it's something that can change.
Okay. And obviously, one of the critical steps to that would be to observe it for having a positive purpose, whether I have it in my life or not.
Yes. Most people who are dealing with things that have to do with eyesight, then you are dealing with beliefs that have to do with either your visions, your ideas about whether or not you are looking outward or inward. Also issues of how you see yourself. Many different kinds of belief system issues can revolve around the symbols of the eyes. So you have to have your own honest self-investigation on all these levels to understand why this experience has been created, how it can serve you to have had the experience, and whether or not you still feel you need it, or whether it still serves you in your mind, or whether it is something that you no longer need if you're willing to continue learning what you need to learn without it. Now, these are oversimplifications, but you're beginning to get the idea.
Absolutely. And is every, I'll just say physical ailment, is every physical ailment symbolic of something deeper, in the sense of vision being a lack of inner vision or outer vision or something of that effect?
Yes, because the idea really, as it translates in your language, is that these things are dis-eases. You are diseased about yourself in some way, shape, or form. Now, it doesn't mean that these things are always chosen for negative reasons. Sometimes they can be chosen for very positive reasons that may have to do not only with you, but with other people's interactions with you and what someone else may need to learn by you having this particular condition or a particular condition, whether it's this one or not. So again, you have to look for the reasons why this may be serving a bigger scope than just yourself.
That makes a lot of sense. And does karma play a factor in the themes that I would be experiencing in my life?
Yes and no. Karma is very simply, from our perspective, the idea that you recognize you may be making choices that take you out of balance, out of alignment with your true self and who you prefer to be. But the idea, therefore, of recognizing that, learning that lesson, and making choices that would help bring you back into alignment and balance with yourself is the immediate erasure of the karma.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So is it possible to be entirely in balance and still have some form of physical ailment?
Yes, because again, it depends on the reason it's there.
Right. And would that also apply to the amount of money that someone has? They could be perfectly in balance, but maybe not have the amount of money they would prefer to have?
Well, again, if that is a statement that indicates a exclusive focus on one particular expression of abundance at the exclusion of all the other expressions of abundance, then that is a very narrow vision. Because there are many forms of abundance. And that can also be something that the eyes express, that you're looking too narrowly at something instead of expanding your vision to include more things that could be assisting you in allowing you to do what you need to do when you need to do it, which is our definition of abundance. We understand that money on your planet is one symbol, of abundance, but many people have been taught to focus on that to the exclusion of all the other forms, and that creates a narrow vision. Being given a gift is a form of abundance. Having something to trade is a form of abundance. Synchronicity is a form of abundance. Imagination is a form of abundance. Communication is a form of abundance. And there are other forms. But when all of these forms are allowed to be equal and valid to one another, not just money, then the different forms can come in when you need them to varying degrees, to varying percentages, to form the 100% abundance that is required for you to do what you need to do when you need to do it in pursuing your passion. Sometimes it may only require a little bit of money, and then something may come along synchronistically that gives you something else you need. And then you may find that someone gives you a gift that completes the idea of the 100% abundance you needed to have the ability to do what you needed to do. So by focusing only on one thing as being the only thing that could possibly be valid, that can be an expression of narrow or limited vision.
Makes a lot of sense. And so if someone's living completely in balance, would they necessarily have preferences that are outside of what they're currently experiencing?
Not really, except the general preference to know that they will always have what they need. Because it's really not so much about what you want, it's about what you need that will fulfill you.
That's fascinating. And is the highest level of need just to know that you have everything you need to have when you need to have it?
Yes. It's acting on your passion, being yourself as fully as you can be, having no insistence on a particular outcome because you don't really know in your physical mind what the best possible outcome actually would look like, and remaining in a positive state no matter what happens so that you can always use it to your benefit. That's all it takes. And knowing that everything unfolds automatically from there in perfect timing. That's it.
Is the 7-sequenced master permission slip that you gave a training on years ago, is that a way to kind of ascend into that knowing that we always have what we need?
It is a way, but it's not the only way. That's why we call them permission slips. All tools, all techniques, all rituals, all objects are permission slips in your reality. So whatever you are attracted to use, the attraction tells you the attraction is there because it aligns with your belief system and will work for you. If you're not attracted to it, it won't work. The idea being that you are using this object, ritual, tool, technique, what have you, to give yourself permission to be more of yourself. But you're the ultimate permission slip. You're the one doing it. The ritual and the tool and the technique, the object isn't doing it for you. You just believe that it is.
Right, because I notice a distinction where there's tools that are working for others, and therefore I want to invest in those, but then I realize they don't actually work for me.
Yes. The ones you are attracted to, the ones that are presented to you through synchronicity, that are obvious in that sense, are the ones at that moment that will work for you. But remember, when you change, you're a different frequency, and so you may need a different permission slip if you need one at all. This is a dynamically changing experience and process, not a static one that remains necessarily for the rest of your life, that you would simply use the same tool over and 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 over again because you're changing.
Yeah. And I liked how you said about it being obvious. So at this level of being in balance 24/7, supposedly, or presumably, does that mean every next step would be obvious?
Yes. Because as we say, all you really have to do is look for the things, opportunities, activities, choices. Look for the ones you have the greatest ability to take action on that contain even the slightest bit more excitement than any other choice. And act on it first. It's very simple. Very simple. And if 2 or more things seem equally exciting, and they actually all have the same ability to be acted upon, then it doesn't really matter which one you choose, because if it's not the one that is actually your path of least resistance at that moment, synchronicity as the organizing principle will automatically turn you back around to the one that is. It's a self-guiding principle. You can't go astray if you pay attention to the signs.
Hmm.
It's that simple.
So there's really no such thing as a mistake then?
Not really. If you're willing to learn from it, I suppose you could say paradoxically that the mistake is not being willing to learn from the experience.
Hmm.
But by itself, the experience is not a mistake. It's something that puts you in touch in a way that helps you clarify what is true for you and what is not.
So, for example, like in my industry of marketing and sales,
Yes.
there's a lot of fear of missing out. That's a big tool that's used to influence people. But it sounds like that's not a true thing.
Not, well, it's a true thing in the sense of creating a reality that people can experience as if it's true. But while the experience may be real, the fundamental concept doesn't really have to exist on its own. It's an illusion. The fear of missing out is what makes you miss out. Otherwise, you know that as you go, if you're truly acting on your passion, if you're paying attention to the negative and fear-based beliefs within you and learning to let them go because they don't serve you, then it's not really possible for you to miss anything that is truly relevant for you in life. This is just physics. This is not a philosophy. This is how it works. This is how the machine operates. You can only, quote unquote, miss things if you spend your time worrying that you will miss things, because that's the experience you're creating. So why focus on that if that's not what you prefer? Don't look where you don't want to go. Otherwise, you'll go there.
So is it fair to say that everything's perfect just as it is?
It is, but perfect doesn't necessarily mean it can't change or improve or expand or grow. But whatever it is absolutely a perfect version of that thing at that moment. Whatever it is, it's a perfect version of that thing in that state. But again, that doesn't mean you won't stop growing or changing. It has nothing to do with anything. When you talk about the idea of perfection, it doesn't mean there's an end to something. It always changes and grows. It never ends. So perfection is simply what it is, the acceptance of what it is in the moment for what it is. And that's what allows you to step to the next stepping stone, because you have perfectly validated the stone you're on. If you don't validate the stepping stone you're on, you have no place to step from to the next stone.
Right. That's
Makes
powerful.
sense? Yes. Does this serve you?
It really does. And final point on that is,
Yes.
if everything is perfect as it is in the moment, and that it's going to naturally grow and change, then there's really no necessity for us to force it to change in any degree.
You can't. There's no ability to force it to change.
Right.
Force actually prevents it from changing. Force solidifies, rigidizes it.
Wow.
Allowance allows it to change. Every single being has their own flow, their own current in the ocean of creation. All you have to do is go with your flow. Your flow knows where you need to go. Surrendering is not giving up control. Surrender is surrendering to the control that's already built into your flow. Don't resist. Resistance causes pain.
Right. And is that the essence of giving control to the greatest power, meaning
In
that
a sense.
it's the gentlest touch?
Yes, in a sense. Does this help?
Very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Bye for now.
Allow us also to share with you and with all of you a very powerful tool that we will begin to share on your world at this time that will allow you to understand something very important about some of the things that you may feel. We can use the cynicism as an example, since you have brought it up. Anytime you have a feeling that is of a vibration of the nature that you know is out of alignment with your truth, of course, as we have always said, allow it, acknowledge it, own it, because you cannot change what you do not own. But now, understand it is a very powerful tool of transformation. And first and foremost, it is a very powerful tool of diffusing and neutralizing the negative vibration in anything that comes up. So whatever it is you may feel, be it anger, be it hate, be it doubt, be it fear, be it cynicism that you believe is out of alignment with your truth at any given moment, say out loud to yourself, or if the situation does not allow that, say strongly in your inner voice the following thing, or some variant thereof, depending upon what it is you are experiencing. I am feeling cynicism because I choose to believe I need to. I am feeling hate because I choose to believe I need to. I am feeling fear because I choose to believe I need to. I am feeling doubt because I choose to believe I need to, or I choose to believe I must, or I choose to believe it serves me, or I choose to believe fill in the blank. But the critical portion is the acknowledgement that you are feeling what you're feeling. I am feeling X. Followed by, because I choose to believe, fill in the blank. When you begin to observe the feelings and make these statements in that moment, you will find that the vibration will somewhat flatten out, somewhat neutralize, somewhat diffuse. It will bring you back at least somewhat to center, because you have actually completed a circuit. You will start to rewire your brain. Most of you experience some of the difficulties and struggles that you do on your planet, and thus the feelings that go with it of pain and doubt and fear and cynicism and hate and so on and so forth. Because, as you have pointed out, in your upbringing, many of those ideas were reinforced in such a way so that the circuit was never allowed in your brain to actually get grounded as a complete equation or a complete thought. All that was entrained within you was, I feel fear, I feel doubt, I feel cynicism, I feel hate, I feel anger, I feel less than, I feel this, and left at that. Just left at that. And then left to wonder and ponder what to do with that, without a tool to complete the circuit. Because just, I feel hate, I feel this, is an incomplete circuit. It only takes you halfway and doesn't give you an opportunity to understand how to ground it into physical manifestability in a way that allows the energy to dissipate and then be worked with, to take you to a place where you're capable of working with it. So from this point forward, if you wish, up to you, use this tool to complete the circuit. And every time you may be going along joyfully and suddenly feel cynicism, hate, doubt, any vibrational, emotional alignment that you feel is out of alignment with your true self, stop, take a moment and acknowledge, I feel X because I choose to believe I must. As soon as you do that, you will be back in control, back in the center of your being. The energy will somewhat flatten, diffuse, and dissipate, and you will be able to then, from that point forward, deal with the issue at hand, which would be the underlying belief. without getting caught up in the short circuit of just, I feel that, I feel that, I feel that, I feel, 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 and never knowing what to do about it. Now, also at the same time, to reinforce the positive vibration, anytime you feel a positive emotion, do the same thing. I feel overwhelming joy and love because I choose to believe I must. And that will start strengthening your ability to complete the circuit when the negative vibration comes up. You will more likely want to complete the circuit, because when you complete the circuit and flatten and neutralize the original negative vibration, it will propel you toward the positive vibration from the reinforcement, and you will begin to get into the habit of choosing the idea of doing a flow-through, a complete follow-through to the positive side from the negative, instead of stopping halfway and being short-circuited. And you will literally, by doing this exercise every time that you catch that emotional vibration out of alignment, completing it with the phrase and grounding it, diffusing it, going to the positive, reinforcing the positive in the same way, you will literally start to rewire the electrical pathways, neurological pathways of your brain that were previously short-circuited by the kind of training and upbringing you had as children. You will literally rewire your brain, and as you do it again and again and again and again and again and again and again, you will suddenly begin to realize that in time it will actually be a struggle to get into negative vibrational reality. You will start to expand and increase the idea of what we may refer to as the gravitational potential of your positive vibration. Look at this idea in your mind's eye right now. Imagine, if you will, that at the core of your being there is a powerful, bright star, shining bright. However, it is mostly invisible to you because it is surrounded by a shell, a spherical shell of all sorts of belief systems that may be out of alignment with your true self, which is that star at your core. But as you reinforce the positive side, as you neutralize the negative side, as you rearrange the neurology of your brain, as you ground the circuit, complete the circuit in this way, bit by bit, piece by piece, these puzzle piece shell around the star will begin to crack, become transparent, become see-through, let you know the star is there. You start to see the light. The shell starts to crack and fall away, float away from around the star, and you begin to feel the pull, the tug of the star, like a moth to a flame, entranced, mesmerized by the beauty and the vibrational power of the core of your being, and you begin to fall toward that star. And the closer you get, you come under the influence of its gravity more and more powerfully. And the closer you get, the gravity becomes stronger. The closer you get, the gravity becomes unbelievably powerful, overwhelmingly powerful, until such time as you are caught in the gravity well of your positive self to such an extent it will be impossible, or very, 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 very to the power of 99.999999999% unlikely that you will be able to pull away from that pull, that tug of the positive vibration again. With that picture also in mind of falling toward the star of the light within you, you will also start falling toward that star. And you will feel its tug. And as you become immersed in that gravitational well and unable to pull away from it more and more, you will become more sensitized to the vibrations that are you, and also more sensitized to the vibrations that are not. So you will constantly then move away from what you are not and towards what you are, and the pull will become inexorable. And you will fall into the center of your soul and be who you are. circumstances in physical reality, thus, are illusionary. They're just symbols. Again, as we have said many times, it's just a reflection based on what you are giving off. Now, the secret calls this idea law of attraction the primary law. We refer to it as the third law of creation. It is, however, the first law of action, even within the four laws. Because the first law, that you exist, is simply a description of a state of being. The second law, that the one is all, the all are one, is also a description of the nature, of the structure of that state of being. But the third law, what you put out is what you get back, is the first law of action. And that is what is being said and the difference being made in the secret by calling the law of attraction the first or primary law of the universe. Because it is the first law of action, and it's therefore the first law that actually brings about manifestational experience. Then the fourth law, everything changes except the first three laws, is what qualifies and colors that experience, what allows you different perspectives of the experience of creating the idea of physical reality. You will remember that what was also very important in the secret was this idea that we talked about before about being passionate, as expressed in the concept of play, of playing with everything that happens in your reality, really having an attitude of gratitude toward it so that you receive every experience you have in a playful way, and thus by receiving it in that playful way can do that much more with it, be that much more creative with it, allow it to be that much more flexible, malleable, stretchable, changeable, formable. Play, that energy is what allows physical reality to become like clay. So play with the clay of physical reality. If you approach it from an energy state of being that is of a lower vibration, that's when the clay hardens. That's when it's unchanging in that state. But as soon as you start to be more playful with what's going on in your life, it softens and becomes clay-like, plastic, malleable, formable, changeable again, and gets in step with the fourth law. As you do. Change is the only constant. So in that sense, when you become more playful, you become more changeable. And as a result, your physical reality will mirror that changeability. Become easier to transform from one kind of reflection to another. Now, very important. This is where physical mind, once again, can sometimes get caught up in its own sense of control. And that is that when we talk about the idea that what you put out is what you get back, the physical mind, because, again, of how it looks at physical reality being the only thing there is, will assume that if it doesn't see an exact one-to-one reflection in the circumstances that surround you with what it is you believe you're giving off, you will think that something has failed. Again, I remind you, this is where you get caught in your own paradoxical trap. Even though it is true that what you put out is what you get back, and that by being in a certain state of being, that will determine what the circumstances around you are, the first stage of that, the first manifestation of that will be usually, especially in your world of space and time, usually the first reflection will look the same as it used to. Because this gives you an opportunity to reinforce the state of being by responding to the circumstances that look the same
differently than you did before. And that is where you then allow the circumstances to truly reflect that you have changed and demonstrate that you truly have changed by responding to the circumstances differently, even if they look the same as they used to. That's how it works. So the first reflection will usually be an echo of how it used to look. You must not respond to the echo as if that's the representation of your new state. You must respond to it, in a sense, as if you know it's just an echo, and that what you're putting out now, the new response to the old circumstances, that will solidify the vibration of your preferred state of being and truly allow the circumstances to change themselves and take their cue from the new vibration you're putting out, which is the absolute certainty that you are different. Because if you respond to the old echo in the same way you used to, you are not different. So in a sense, it's like you're testing yourself. It's like you're giving yourself an opportunity to decide whether you really do want the circumstances to change by first presenting yourself very often with the same set of circumstances to see if you respond differently to them, making a clear commitment that you have, in fact, vibrationally changed your state of being. Once you have then done that and respond differently to the same set of circumstances, then you have established that you truly have changed, and then the circumstances can reflect that change. So don't be fooled by the echo into thinking you've done something wrong by labeling it in the same way you used to. Oh, I didn't see what I wanted to get immediately. It looks the same as it did before. The same people are here giving me the same kind of feedback. I must have done something wrong, or something's not working. Or you find that you're reacting to it in the same way you used to, because if you do, you have not changed. So that's the self-reinforcing mechanism that gives you the opportunity to decide whether you really want to change that circumstance or not. Because again, remember, all belief systems by definition are self-reinforcing. They have to be. If belief systems were not self-reinforcing and making themselves seem like the only thing there is to believe in, you wouldn't be able to have an actual distinct, discrete belief system experience. If beliefs did not come with a self-reinforcing mechanism, you wouldn't be able to have a discrete physical experience. And because they come with a self-reinforcing mechanism, when you change your vibrational state, one of the last things to fade will be the self-reinforcing mechanism. It will present the same scenario to you once again, but it will be presented not as a concrete reality, but only as an illusion, only as an echo of what was, to give you a chance to really decide that you will break through that self-reinforcing mechanism by defining and labeling it differently than you used to, proving that you have changed, thus allowing the reflection to then truly come. That's how that works. Use that mechanism to your advantage by understanding very clearly. And if you wish to use this almost as a mantra, you certainly may. Again, as we discussed last night, all of these things are nothing more than permission slips that, if you decide they work for you, if you decide they resonate according to your frequency, will simply allow you to permit yourself to change in the way you prefer to. The mantra doesn't do it for you. It simply is a reflection of the belief system within you that says this is what you will allow to give you permission, to give yourself permission to change in the way you wish to. So use this as a mantra if you wish, if it works for you, knowing that you're doing it if you need it at all. And that is, again, the idea, not even so much the statement that circumstances do not determine state of being. State of being determines circumstances. Now you can use that. However, we would also suggest something even simpler and something even stronger. And that is simply, and the mantra is this: circumstances don't matter. Only state of being matters. And again, listen to the way that this synchronistically translates in your English language. Circumstances don't matter. They do not create materialization. Only state of being matters. Only state of being materializes experience. So, the mantra is, anytime you find yourself doubting, stuck, fearful, because of what you believe the situation is, what you believe the circumstances are, you can, if you wish, use this little reminder. Circumstances don't matter. Only state of being matters. And then choose the state of being you prefer. And then redefine the circumstances from that state of being, so that you can erase the echo and allow the true reflection to then take form from your state of being. Circumstances don't matter. Only state of being matters. Now, we apologize if what we are about to do with you, to some of your physical minds, may sound, a little cultish. It isn't meant this way. It's simply meant to express to you something very important. It's one thing very often to your physical minds when you hear someone else's voice say something. It's another when your own voice says it. So, repeat out loud after me. Circumstances don't matter.
Circumstances don't matter.
Only my state of being matters.
Only my state of being matters.
Now, do it with excitement in a calm way. Because what this begets is simple certainty. Repeat. Circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. One more time. Circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. One more time. Circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. Understand. When you say this to yourself in your own vibrational voice, you will start to listen. Because what you're doing by making this statement is what we talked about earlier. You are voicing a message from the higher self in language the physical mind understands. This mantra and all mantras of this nature are exactly that kind of tool. It is a way of translating for the physical mind in terms it can understand a communication from the higher self. That's why they're powerful, if you agree that it's a permission slip that works for you. So, anytime you find yourself in doubt, in fear, confused about the circumstances going on, stop. Say to yourself, out loud, no matter how many people might think you're crazy. Yes, of course, yes, of course, yes, of course, you can say it inside your head if you wish to. But if you're really being bold, and if it's really important to you to have the reality you prefer, then make a commitment and say it out loud. You don't have to shout, you don't have to scream. But stop and say, circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. What state of being do I prefer? Then choose. And as you choose, behave that way toward the circumstances. You will be amazed at how quickly it will evaporate. you will take people off guard. At the very least, they might say, oh, she's crazy, and move away. And then you won't have to deal with them anymore. So one way or another, it will create the bubble reality of your preferred vibration, and will act as an organizing principle and driving engine to move out of that bubble any vibration that is incompatible. It is one of the strongest, most centering statements you can make for yourself. Circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters.